Okay.
Wait. So sorry. Oh, God. Come you're not showing up. Oh, because you're under Spatra. Spatra is going to speak Spanish to us. Interpreter. I just did the wrong thing again. I'm so sorry. Let me start all over. I'm going to start all over. The hurrier I go, the behinder I get, my mother used to say. Spanish. But push the start button, not the add interpreter. Put me in the other one. English. Now we're good to go. Right? And my recording is on. Mine is, I think. Okay. So let's gather our minds here as we usually do, please. Bring your attention to your breath until you hear from me again. Now bring to mind that being who is for you a manifestation of ultimate love, ultimate compassion, ultimate wisdom. And see them there with you. They are gazing at you with their unconditional love for you, smiling at you with their holy great compassion, their wisdom radiating from them, that beautiful golden glow encompassing you in its light. And then we hear them say, bring to mind someone you know who's hurting in some way. Feel how much you would like to be able to help them. Recognize how the worldly ways we try fall short. How wonderful it will be when we can also help them in some deep and ultimate way, a way through which they will go on to stop their distress forever. Understanding a little bit about karma and emptiness, we see how this is possible. It confirms something that we know is true deep, deep down within us. It resonates with something that we know we're meant to do, meant to become. And so feel that sense of intention, determination, being on the right track. That confidence. And turn back to that precious holy being. We know that they know what we need to know, what we need to do yet, what we need to learn yet, to make steady progress, to becoming one who can help this other in this deep and ultimate way. And so we ask them, please, please teach us that. Teach me that. And they are so happy that we've asked. Of course they agree. Our gratitude arises. We want to offer them something exquisite. And so we think of the perfect world they are teaching us how to create. We imagine we can hold it in our hands and we offer it to them, following it with our promise to practice what they teach us, using our refuge prayer to make our promise. Here is the great earth, filled with fragrant incense and covered with a blanket of flowers. The great mountain, 4 lands, wearing the jewel of the sun and the moon. In my mind, I make them the paradise of a Buddha and offer it all to you. By this deed, may every living being experience the pure world. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may we reach Buddhahood for the sake of every living being. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the highest community. Through the merit that I do in sharing this class and the rest, may all beings reach their total awakening for the benefit of every single other. So last class, we learned that there were 5 steps in the contemplation on death, right? No, Claire says no. So you're saying there's more than 5 steps? Oh no, you're saying there's fewer than 5 steps? I saw a nod. Was that a yes? Yes. And you can tell me how many of those steps there really are.
There are 4 steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And of those 4 steps, the first one is learning how to position yourself properly when you die. No, you're saying it's something else. Oh, yeah? You can tell me what that first step we learn in the contemplation on death.
Considering the problems of not doing that kind of meditation.
Nice, exactly. And then the second one, the second step in contemplating death is to understand what happens after death. Anybody else want to play? Don't leave Claire on the spot. Going once, going twice. Russ.
Yeah, the second one is considering benefits of meditating on that.
Excellent. So to cut to the chase, what's the third one? Anybody? What it's not, right? What death awareness we're not going to learn. And then the fourth one, actually the third one is what it's not and what it is. And then the fourth one is how to do it. So we learned the first of the fourth one, the how to do it, which was my death is certain. And it had 3 parts. I'm skipping the rest of the quiz in the interest of time. So in the step 4, how to do it, there's three reasonings. No, yeah, 3 considerations. And each of those 3 has 3 reasons to consider. So you could say that a death awareness practice has 9 steps, but it's really 3 with 3 each. So the first one, my death is certain, it had those 3 parts described as the Lord of death is unstoppable. Number 1. Number 2, our life is continuously slipping away, meaning we can't add time. And the third one is that there's never enough time. And so those 3 are like explanations for investigating why it's true my death is certain. So again, when we learn this in the practice module, we go into greater explanation of how to use those 3. For right now, we're just learning what they are, not so much how to do them yet. So the second principle of this practice to gain our proper death awareness is the time of my death is uncertain. Zambuling Tsemanye. Time to share screen. Vocabulary 8. You go away, we get bigger. There we are. Is that everybody? Okay. Zambuling is short for Zambuling. Zambuling is the name of our Earth, our continent. Do you remember in the 37 pile mandala, there's the 4 continents. The one to the south is Zambuling because the tree that lives at the edge of the ocean has a great big fruit, and when it drops, it goes Zambu. So we get named after that. And then they shorten that sometimes to just Zamling. So Zamling means, I'm sorry. Let me go back. The second principle is the time of my death is uncertain. I don't have the Tibetan for that. First principle of death, my death is certain. Second principle, I don't know when. Third principle is going to be, and when I die, nothing but the Dharma can help me. So we can see where we're going. Now we need, of the second principle, the time of my death is uncertain. We get those 3 ways to think about that in order to come to our own conclusion about whether that is true or not. Is it true that the time of my death is uncertain? So they have 3 reasons why we might find that to be true. The first one is Zamling Semanye. Zamling means here in our realm, on our earth. Se means lifetime. Manye means uncertain. So the first reasoning is here on our planet, lifespans are uncertain. So in our use of this as a practice, we would be investigating whether or not we find that to be true. The explanation is, first of all, that this implies that there are places where lifespans are certain. And Geshe-la explained that there are other kinds of beings for whom the karma to be born or to appear as one of those beings includes in it the exact time it takes to finish that off. And I don't really understand it. I'm not sure exactly what of our different realm beings we're talking about. It does not appear to be animal realm, right? Of the animal realm that we relate to on our earth. And so, but the point is that there are places where when you show up there or are born there, your karma right then ripens in such a way that you have a set period of time. And it's not clear whether you know it or not, but you would know that you have a set time. Maybe you don't know how long that time is specifically, but you know your lifespan is set. And imagine the different mindset it would be, right? If you really knew, okay, I have 75 years, and I knew that when I was 5 years old, and I still know it when I'm 71. And it would be a whole different mindset than the mindset that we have included in our karma to see ourselves as human, which is people die young, people die old, people die healthy, people die sick. It seems random. Some really nasty people live a really long time. Some really nasty people die young. Some really kind people live a really long time. And some really kind people die young, don't they? In our experience, we expect the first to be born should be the first to die. But it doesn't happen like that. We don't know, do we? Okay. The second the second aspect to the time of my death is uncertain is here. Chiken Mang Sun Kyen Yun. Chiken Mang Sun Kyen Yun. Chiken means things that can kill us. Chi is kill or die. Mang means many. Sun Kyen means things, the Kyens that will keep us alive. The Kyens that support us. And Jung means not many. So the things that kill us are many, and the things that keep us alive are few. As part of how we investigate whether or not we believe, the time of my death is uncertain. Jetson Kappa divides the things that can kill us, the Chikyan, into living things and inanimate things. So living things that can kill us, obviously other people, animals, viruses, bacteria, right? Living things that affect us in a way that end up with us dying. And then he says the inanimate things that can kill us. There are those that are outside of us, and there are those that are inside of us. So those that are outside of us, the inanimate things that can shorten our life, are like any of the outer inanimate things that, right, could cause an accident, cause us to die. So, our car, a gun, a ladder, a rock, a cliff, right? All kinds of different things. And in fact, when we go looking, is there anything that actually absolutely could not contribute to the end of our life in some weird way? I mean, maybe we could find something like, I don't know, Jello, but we could conceive of a way that we could choke on Jello, right? Any animate thing can kill us. And then the inanimate things inside of us, what he means by that are those 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, those 4 energies that impart those qualities to our physical being. The quality of solidity and shape, form, earth element. It does not mean that we have specks of dirt inside us. It's the energy of earth, the energy of water, which is our fluidity, the energy of fire, meaning our metabolism, our temperature, and the energy of wind, which means our movement and dispersal. These 4 inner factors are interacting with each other constantly, helping, strengthening each other, and keeping each other in check. I think we've spoken about this before. And they are needing to adjust this interaction, mutual interaction happening according to influences of outside factors, like what we eat and drink and what the weather is and how much sleep we get. And then they're also adjusting according to their own inner factors, in that apparently each one of those elements is somehow compelled to want to win out over the others. I mean, it's not like they're thinking, I want to win the game, but the way the dynamic works, that if you've got fire element and you have insufficient water, earth, and wind doing what they're supposed to do, fire element gets over powerful, we run a fever, right? Or we get hyperthyroid, right? Our metabolism goes off unchecked. And you let fire go unchecked and run a fever of 105 to 106, and that's inconsistent with life. So each of those 4 elements has this I'm blanking out on the word, like a limit to where once it has strength over that limit, it's inconsistent with life. And the reason it gets over that limit is because the other ones have gotten too weak to keep it in check. So there's this constant dance going on. And we can contribute to that dance. We can learn about it, and we can do what we can with our food, with our drink, with our exercise and rest, with the amount of movement we do, all these different factors that we can do our part to assist those four elements to be able to continue to keep each other in check. But at some point, right, one of them's going to win out. And when it does, dead is the result. And we don't know. Right? Being in Zambuling, we don't know when that's going to happen. And in Western society, we don't really even grow up learning about, too much heat or being exposed to cold wind. And we just don't get that. We don't relate to that at all. Your kindergartner gets sick like every other week in kindergarten because they're exposed to these new viruses, and then they finally get well, and then they go to middle school and it happens again because new set of viruses that they're getting exposed to. Why did I say that? So we just relate to a different way of thinking about illnesses, but the end result is the same. If our body isn't able to get that virus in check, a plain old head cold virus could kill us. Measles can kill people. So much can kill us, and so little keeps us alive. What does actually keep us alive? Food, water, sleep, hope, right? We had it earlier. What sustains us? And then unfortunately, what sustains us in suffering life. Not that we don't want it to sustain us, but it isn't really very much compared to what can kill us. And then if we look at those things that do sustain us, they still can kill us, can't they? All right, we can choke on food. We can drink impure water. Our bed can catch on fire. We can not wake up in the morning. So really, even in terms of so little keeps us alive, even those aren't to be trusted. Then the third, oh, no, in this one still, Judson Kappa in your reading will also point out that even in his time, he pointed out, look, we are getting to the end of that Kalpa cycle where the lifespans are decreasing because of the increasing non-virtue. Our lifespans are decreasing. And that means that all the different kinds of things in our world that are supposed to support life become less able to do so. So even in his time, 1357, right, a long time ago, apparently they were already experiencing that food was less nutritious. Water was more easily contaminated. Medicines were not as effective. And now we understand the same thing. foods are not as nutritious. The soil has been depleted. Our water is getting rarer and rarer and more contaminated, not just with metals and organisms, but with plastics. And then medicines are not as effective. Antibiotics are becoming resistant to. And so harder and harder to manage the things, not because the things are getting worse, but because the karma of the population is ripening results of past non-virtues. Probably not in that lifetime. Right? We are experiencing the results of things that our subject side was aware of itself doing to others from long ago. And it's true for everybody in our current world. And he says, finally, it's like, look, really, where do you think life is headed anyway? Okay, samsaric life is headed to its end because it was made by karmic seeds stained with the mistake that thereby makes those seeds wear out. All right, then. So the time of my death is uncertain. Why do I say that? Because here on earth, lifespans are not fixed. Number two, because so much can kill me and so little can keep me alive. And three, Lu Shintu Nyamchung. Lu means body. Do you remember Shintu? Shintu. It was really from the hidden reality, obvious reality, hidden reality, and really hidden reality. Shintu Kokyo. Same Shintu. Nyam Chung. Nyam means fragile, Chung means delicate. So they put these two together and say fragile, delicate. Like not just one and the other, but somehow they're the state that we are. So our bodies are extremely fragile, delicate. It's a little bit different than the second one. So much can kill us, so little can keep us alive, because then we're talking about these other factors. Now we're talking about our own bodies. Our own bodies are delicate and fragile. And it's like, it doesn't feel so delicate and fragile. Bubbles are delicate and fragile. You know, you look at them cross-eyed and they pop. Flowers are delicate and fragile. Come on, I'm solid, right? I'm not delicate and fragile. But he says, look, you get a little, sliver in your finger doing your gardening, and oh, here it's like cacti. Not anywhere near a cactus, but I'm picking up leaves of something else, and I've got a cactus spine in my finger. And it happens all the time. I pull it out, I rub it and I forget it. But, right, one little prick through the skin can just as easily drag skin bacteria and yard bacteria in underneath. And, if my body doesn't have the ability to recognize that and fight it off, pretty soon, blood poisoning. And blood poisoning goes pretty fast, moves pretty fast. So one little sliver is enough to kill us. One wrong meal is enough to kill us. They anaphylactic reaction to food. It doesn't happen the first time you're exposed to a food. but it can happen the second time you're exposed to a food. And so, you know, you've eaten mangoes all your life. This happened to a friend of mine, and she's at a restaurant, has something with mangoes on, and within 10 minutes, her lips are swelling. She can't breathe. She's broken out in this rash. You know, she's having an anaphylactic reaction to something she'd eaten hundreds of times before. Fortunately, they got her, you know, to care in time. But it's like our own body will kill us, given half a chance. Not that it's waiting to do that, but it's just so fragile. Close these orifices for 4 minutes, and that's inconsistent with life. It's a miracle it hasn't happened already. You know, more miracle the older we get, that it hasn't happened already. Our bodies really are fragile. Mm. In my notes, I just think this is funny. In my notes, when I first wrote these notes, for the first time I shared this class, I think it must have been the first time, I have written down, it's really amazing any of us are still alive. 53 years, air in and air out. 71 years, air in, air out. How lucky am I? You know, it's like, I take it for granted. I don't so much anymore, but it's like we have this expectation that we'll even get to 50, right? And then, oh my gosh, 21 years later, well, 53 I was, so it's not 21, but you get it? Like, I shocked myself about how long I've been doing this for. Every time we wake up in the morning, it's a miracle. That's what we're wanting to get into us. I die today. You wake up in the morning, oh my gosh, I didn't. Let's use today really well, because I'm going to die tonight, for sure tonight. And then the next day, wow, I didn't. No, I think His Holiness has that morning prayer. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it says, I woke up today. Or, you know, I woke up alive. I'm going to use my day in a wise way. I'm going to use it to be more kind. I'm going to use it, right? It's like, kind of implies that he expects to be dead every day, doing this death practice, even as a really high practitioner. Okay. Our bodies are so fragile. The third principle, I don't have the Tibetan for the principle. The third principle is, and when I die, nothing but the Dharma can help. And it sounds like it means, you know, have your favorite Dharma book on your chest or clutched in your hands when you're dying, and that will help you. And of course, that's not what it means. The reasonings for coming to the conclusion that when I die, nothing but the Dharma will help me is, number one, my people can't help me. Number two is going to be my stuff, my wealth, my possessions can't help me. And number three is going to be my body can't help me. What else is there in life than our people, our stuff, and our body. You know, of course, we all know karma, right? We also are karma. We have karma. When I die, nothing but the Dharma can help me. We are instructed to look at the things that we are expecting to help us as we die. And Geshe-la's example was, you know, think about this beloved father on his deathbed. And he's in his home. His family is surrounding him. They're holding his hands. They're begging him not to go. But he can't not go. He doesn't have a choice. His body mechanisms are breaking down. His mind is in chaos. The brain, that the habit, right, the association with our awareness is that it's in or from or associated with the brain. The brain is breaking down. It's not functioning well. It's chaotic, you know, bursts of this and absence of that, and it's not what we are familiar with. And so our awareness is not with what we are familiar with. It's all shifting so dramatically and in a way that's so unfamiliar that it's frightening. There's no awareness of that loving family around the bedside. The father has already reached that place where his ripening seeds don't have the ripening imprint, oh, my family around me. He's beyond feeling their touch. He's beyond hearing them. He's beyond that reality. So for him, that reality doesn't even exist anymore. Right? He's not, oh, you know, Grandpa Bob is now in a space that can't see anybody. The identity Grandpa Bob is gone too. It's hard to conceive. And it's terrifying because it's so unfamiliar and it's so out of control, right? We're used to having some version of control. We think we have some version of control. And to, you know, completely unfamiliar territory, it's scary. When we're trying to think about going through death, we think that, oh, I can rely upon the people around me, right? They'll read prayers, they'll sing music, they'll help me be comfortable. And they will, up to a certain point. And they'll keep doing those things, but our awareness of them breaks down, shuts down. And whatever we are experiencing is not them taking care of us anymore. But what does go on with this mind that's experiencing the chaos, that eventually the chaos will stop. The projecting karma will take over. The bardo will be experienced. And the push into the next rebirth will happen. What does go on with that mind? I'll give you a clue, right? The imprints of the actions that we did on behalf of all those people. So we do kind and unkind things on behalf of our people. People that we love we want to take care of. People that we don't love so much, we don't care about so much. People that we flat out don't like, we're a bit more willing to be nasty. All those karmic seeds go with us. The people themselves don't. So in a sense, if there were a period of time in this withdrawal that we could actually be aware that those people can't help us, we would have this sense of betrayal. You know, after all I did for you, you can't help me now. You know, that wouldn't happen, you know, into the deeper phases of death. That could happen at the beginning. But we have this expectation that my people will help me. No, actually, they can't. Not that they won't try, hopefully, but our seeds are withdrawing, right? We can't ripen them helping me, but we carry with us the seeds of all the things we did on their behalf. So part of the moral to the story, of course, is don't ever be willing to do plant a negative seed on behalf of someone else. Because what you do may appear to help them, but if we did a negative deed for them to get a positive result, the two cannot be related. And all we did was plant a negative seed that we will carry with us and reap a negative result, and the person will not be involved, right? We leave them behind. When I die, nothing but the Dharma can help me. Why? Because my people can't help me. It's subtle, do you see? Second one, because my stuff can't help me. My wealth. There's some weird state of mind that when you have children, grown children, you, the adult, want to save your wealth to leave to your children. And you know, it makes sense. You want their life to be a little easier. And if you have some left over, you want it to go to them. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it's based in this belief that if I keep my wealth to myself, even so that I can share it with my kids when I'm gone, if I keep my stuff to myself, I will have things to share with others. I will have things to use when I need it. So I rely on my wealth, my stuff, right? My material things for my own well-being. And we expect that to be able to help us at death. You know, it's not rational, of course. We know that when you die, you leave everything behind. But there's this period during the dying process where we feel betrayed by our stuff even. Like, I have wealth beyond measure and I couldn't pay a doctor enough to cure my cancer. We would be like, what's wrong with this picture? They promised that if I had enough money, I could get anything done. You know, who promised? I don't know. Our own mind thinks this way. So if we go into our death process with this expectation, oh, my hospital bed will keep it comfortable for me because it's the most fancy, comfortable hospital bed. It will keep my death from being painful. Guess what? By the time you get to that part of dead, you have no hospital bed going on. You're way beyond that. Nothing but the Dharma can help me. Why? Because my people can't help me? Because my stuff can't help me. Last one that we think can help us at death. This one's kind of weird. Even our own body can't help. Well, it's the thing that's dying. Why would I think it could help? Somehow it has to do with our identity and our identity tagged to the body. And it's hard. It's hard to even recognize the extent to which we're doing that. But when we think of ourself, the image that pops in our mind is the image we see in the mirror. Right? We never actually see our own face directly. But we have this huge identity of being this thing. And apparently, somewhere along the line in our dying process, we will be so withdrawn, it doesn't sound right. Separated, that's not quite right either. Our seeds will be inconsistently ripening such that the familiarity of our body will be gone. And so it's like, what are we without that tethering of a physical body? And it's again part of the fear that we experience, the fear and pain of ordinary dying process, is when we get to this place where our seed ripening is no longer including a consistent awareness of body. And yet, what goes on with us is, again, all the things that we did or didn't do on behalf of keeping our body healthy and attractive, and right. So all the time that we take our vitamins and buy our organic vegetables and eat all those salads, we are just moving that much closer to death. If we were willing to be unkind, to make my body feel better, to make it a little bit more attractive, those seeds go with me in this mind as it's moving along. The body I did it for does not go with me. So same with the stuff. Any karma that I did in order to accumulate and keep that stuff, the karma goes with me. The stuff does not. Do you see how that's a suffering at death? And can you see how our conclusion is, well, if nothing but my karmic seeds go with me at death, and I understand that the karmic seed that pops at a certain moment of that, what we're calling dying, is the karmic seed that directs and then directs the coloring of the next life, then the seeds that I plant in this life become the most important thing, don't they? We don't have any control over what seed is going to push out as the projecting karma at the moment of death. It's a numbers game. We've heard it before. The more stinginess seeds we have, the more likely a stinginess seed can be the one that jumps out at what's called the moment of death. If to make a large amount of stinginess seeds it would mean our mindset going through life has this stinginess mindset. You know, my needs are more important. I don't want to share. Sharing is a little scary because it'll leave me without and I'll end up a bag lady. You know, and it's like this kind of underlying constant pressure influences our choice making. Our choice making is our seed planting. So the likelihood of having a similar state of mind, I'm losing all my things, right? Not in mental words, but in feeling as we're dissolving everything away, we would have this strong, I'm losing everything. If fear of losing stuff was your MO in life, then the likelihood of fear of not having would be what would be coloring your mind at that crucial moment when you actually make this transition from this life to into Bardo. So then the likelihood of one of those seeds popping would be greater, and that would push us into hungry ghost realm. So anger, hatred, you know, irritation, violence to settle something, right? On automatic pilot, on instinct, or constant disrespect of others could be animal realm. Any of the 10 non-virtues done, right, with whether it was strong, medium, or light extent, you can see how the process is really chaotic, and then not random, but numbers driven. So when we're thinking that or understanding that, we would automatically start thinking, well, then what would really help me at death would be some kind of instruction, some kind of guidance that would tell me what kind of behavior would make the imprints, any one of which could be the projecting karma, and I'd be safe. I'd be okay. We would want to know that, wouldn't we? We would want to know, what do I do with all the ick seeds that I planted before I knew any better? All right, 4 powers. But more importantly, you know, what behaviors do I want to avoid? Do I want to avoid? And what behaviors do I want to do so that I can pack my foundation consciousness with seeds that will push me into a better rebirth? And it gets even more fine. I don't want a better rebirth of pleasure being. I want a better rebirth human being in the Dharma, right? In a world where there is Dharma, right? We're like calling on everything that we're learning in ACI in the ramification of death meditation, because we want to put in there the seeds to continue our practice if we don't finish it in this life. Right? We want to put in there the seeds such that we don't have to worry going into that chaotic death process. We know whatever seed's going to ripen, it's going to send me in the right place. That's the conclusion we come to. My death is certain. The time of my death is uncertain. And when I die, nothing but the Dharma helps me. Do you see how it goes together? Let's take a break. So given what I just explained, when I die, nothing but the Dharma can help me, is referring to how our study of the Dharma helps us choose our behaviors, our reactions towards our experiences of everyday life in such a way that the seeds we plant by those responses are seeds that we're happy to have. And of course, it's way easier said than done. And so we rely upon the Dharma for the guidance. What guidance? Our vows. Avoiding the 10 non-virtues. Practicing with our refuge advices. It's so interesting that the next course, ACI 9, is vowed morality. Because at the end of this course, it's like, you know, what seeds do I need to plant? And it comes up like, stay tuned in June. As we study, meditate, interact with others with our growing wisdom, as we do our purification practices and our gather merit practices, our virtuous instinct grows and grows and grows, right? Gets fine-tuned. Hopefully, sooner or later, our instinct becomes virtuous, becomes kindness, helpfulness. Along the way, we have ups and downs, of course. But we can see now how when they say, oh, our Buddhist practices aren't Buddhist practices until they're directed towards our next lives. And we see why. That, yeah, it's great to do your 4 powers to get the worldly result that we would like. It works for some better than others. But that really isn't using the ancient wisdom. I mean, it's using the ancient wisdom, but it's not spiritual practice. It's not Buddhist practice. Will it help us in future lives? Sure. And when our seed planting behavior is done to protect our mind going from this life to the next one, this lifetime does get easier. It does get better. You know, fast, slow, with ups and downs. But we can see how the connection is all, you know, what we're learning and how we're practicing. Its first impact is going to be experienced at the end of this life. And then we move to a next opportunity to continue the same. When we've used what we've learned well. And then that's the urgency of it, not the urgency to give up everything and go live in a cave, but the urgency to train ourselves to be having, right, the virtues, non-virtues in mind and the seed planting in mind, such that our where we can move ourselves from react mode to respond mode. We become farmers, where our interest all day long is, what am I planting? What am I planting? What am I planting? And it's kind of a shift from the training that we have, which is, anything happening, what seeds did I make to make this? To me, that's interesting and helps us think about karma, which implies we're thinking about emptiness. But what has always felt more important to me is, what seeds do I want to plant here? Because whatever's ripened is done. I certainly don't want to repeat it, so I do want to know what caused it. But to me, more important is what I plant, because that's going to help me moving forward. So this death meditation, when we take it onto the cushion, with enough time and space to really explore it, we'll find that even if we're not actually saying every day, I die today, it will begin to color our interaction with doing the dishes, with brushing our teeth, with driving to work, with grocery shopping. It will motivate us to take what we learn in class, what we work with on our cushion, out into life. And if we don't do that, it just stays as an intellectual exercise. And that'll plant seeds for intellectual exercise, which may or may not really help us much at the end of life. So the death meditation practice stops at those 9. But Lama Tsongkhapa says, a realization of these three with the 3, would naturally inspire within us these 3 resolutions. And when we're doing the death meditation practice module for people that have never done it before, these are they're so spectacular to take somebody through that visualization of the 3 resolutions. It's so impactful that if you haven't done that practice module yet, I'm a little hesitant to spill the beans. It's maybe it would take the impact away, but it's part of class, so I have to. So these 3 resolutions is knowing that my death is certain. I want to start my Dharma practice seriously now. I must start my Dharma practice. I'll study emptiness. I'll learn and keep my bodhisattva vows, which implies we have refuge and 5 lifetime vows at least. I will meditate regularly. I will try hard to grow my bodhicitta. The deceptive form, I want to be Buddha so I can help all beings stop their suffering. And the ultimate form, experiencing emptiness directly. So knowing that my death is certain, renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct worldview becomes my compass. Those 3, right? I live according to those. Try, at least. We understand suffering more deeply. We generate compassion even for those we don't like, right? A lot of challenge of that going on right now. We study emptiness. Everything fits into those three. Everything else that we learn fits in there. Second resolution, knowing that the time of my death is uncertain. I must quit my worldly work and start my Dharma practice immediately. It gives the wrong idea to hear the words like that. If, if let me see. In Buddha's time, if we were one of those beings who had the goodness to meet the Buddha and see the Buddha as a Buddha and be attracted to those teachings, just to go and ask for a teaching, boom, you got ordained. And you would like give everything up and go with Buddha. And it's hard. It's like, yeah, but what about your wife and kids, buddy? You just leave them in the lurch? What kind of good karma is that? And I don't know, what the answer is. Apparently, that stuff happened in Buddha's time. And those women got left with their kids. I don't know. Fast forward a couple hundred years, more than that, 700 years. And we have Arya Nagarjuna and the love and compassion coming in. And now someone meeting the Dharma, they may have the same kind of attraction and impulse to renunciate worldly life in that way. But their love and compassion, understanding their karmic seeds, means no, I'll devote myself to my practice without leaving my family. I change my interaction with my family to be consistent with my Dharma practice. What's changing really is our own attitude, right? What we're thinking as we're interacting with them. We still do the dishes. We still take the boy to school. We still go grocery shopping. The difference is the two husbands in the kitchen thing, right? To come to understand that when we're having the usual upsets that we have either with our family, our work, our neighbors, to recall, this is unique to me, my own seeds ripening. My ordinary reaction is the one that's going to bring more yuck to me. I'm going to stall, wait, try really hard to not react the same old way. And I'm going to look to see where is it that with somebody else, I'm behaving like that. Do you see? To not yell back at the husband isn't enough. We have to stop yelling at the kid and at the other driver in the traffic and at the neighbor's dog that's yelling, that's barking. Right? All the other yelling at people is what ripens as husband yelling at us. Maybe we never yell at the husband, but he's the one that's yelling at us because we're doing it everywhere else. So this, knowing my death is certain, knowing the time of my death is uncertain, I could drop dead at any moment, then let me get on with it. Let me change my own behavior, my own seed ripening. Now, not later, not when I retire, not when I get vacation. Now, moment by moment, now. So really what we're quitting as our worldly life is our worldly attitude. This is what they expect me to behave like at work. I'm supposed to get upset when somebody comes in late. If I say, oh, it's okay, you'll be fine, I'll get in trouble because I'm not disciplining my crew the way I'm supposed to. Yeah, right? It doesn't mean let everybody get away with everything. That just causes trouble. But we skillfully correct and guide and share and push and inspire and in some different way than our ordinary human automatic pilot tells us we're supposed to react. So to quit my worldly work and start my Dharma practice means I'm going to quit my worldly attitude. Harder. It'd be easier to go quit work and go live under a bridge. But quit our worldly attitude that's in the seeds planted by every seed planted by behavior. It takes some willpower and strength and enthusiasm and effort, and it takes a community to help us stay on track. Geshe-la reminded us that in the highest level of Buddhist practice, meaning that Anuttara Yoga, Diamond Way, it was designed for kings and aristocrats and business people. It was designed for working people as a method for being able to practice the Dharma in a very powerful way within the realm of your worldly life. There's no reason why the other levels of Dharma aren't also practiced in that way within the realm of our worldly life. And at first it wasn't. It was restricted only to the monastics. And then, of course, as monastics' compassion grew and grew and grew, they couldn't keep it contained to just other monastics. There are people in the world that could benefit, and let's teach them the Dharma. And generally, when we hear of a Lama taking the teachings out to the general public in a big way, that Lama got in trouble. But in their wisdom, they continued to do so. And we hear it over and over again. So the Buddha Dharma is not meant to be restricted to only those who have given up the worldly life. It's meant to encourage us to give up the worldly life attitude and stay in the worldly life and do our practice. So we want to have a job, and maybe the more stressful the job, the better. Geshe-la said, you want that work to be work that doesn't harm anybody. And you might want to choose work that pushes your envelope of your main mental affliction. So he had said, so for instance, if you have a big attraction, like if your vanity is really important to you, and it's really important to look really attractive, really beautiful, then he said, find work in which what you do is help other people be beautiful. If you have pride, then rather than finding a line of work that's going to feed your pride, find a line of work where you get to serve people. So I don't know. somebody wants to be the big one in charge and always making all the decisions, and they meet the Dharma and they go, oh man, that's my pride. I just think I'm the best and I will become a nurse's assistant and I'll be the one that takes out the bedpan and dresses the person, and I'll be that one. And do you see what a Dharma practice it would be? What a struggle that would be. And Geshe-la says that would be being consistent with, because the time of my death is uncertain, I will give up my worldly way to practice the Dharma. Right? You're in a worldly life, and you are practicing the Dharma every moment because you want to run away and go become a lawyer. But you don't, you stay there. Right? Do you see? You get the idea. Geshe-la shared any other reason for working is meaningless. Don't get caught up in it. Ow. Okay, we say the reason I work is that's where money comes from. And money allows me to support my family, multiple families in some people's case. But really, work is not the cause of the paycheck. It's so hard to understand that. Oh, well, then I should just quit work and I'll still get a paycheck. No, it's not what we're saying. Okay. Third resolution. Since nothing else can help me but the Dharma, I will devote myself solely to my Dharma practice. So these three, you see, they're not three separate resolutions. They're just three levels of determination. The first, beginning determination. Yes, yes, Dharma is everything. Second one is, oh, wow, it really is. Third one is, oh, nothing else is important. But do you see where we're going with that? It's the attitude change. No other attitude than whatever I plant's going to come back to me. Any other attitude is not useful. So our conclusion is I just want to imbue myself with enough wisdom that I can recognize when I'm not reacting Dharma, when I'm not, I want to imbue myself with the ability to be aware when I am reacting instead of responding. And I want to train myself to react less and respond more, just making that distinction between automatic pilot, selfish reaction, and wisdom response, which lessens the selfishness and increases the wisdom understanding. Not that we're yet quite at the place necessarily where we're thinking, oh, nothing has any nature of its own. And so when I plant my seeds, I can make anything into anything. You don't even have to go that far. Simply, I understand enough about karma and emptiness to understand that every interaction is creating the circumstances of my future, not necessarily this lifetime, but forever after. We don't know what seed will ripen when. The things that we're ripening now are very likely from many, many past lifetimes. What we're doing now is creating the circumstances for our futures, not just one lifetime, many. You remember? Karma can ripen in this lifetime, the very next lifetime, and any lifetime after that. Okay. So Geshe-la's conclusion is, look, notice the things we spend our precious human lifetime on. There are some things that with a death awareness practice, we will decide, some worldly things that we will decide, I don't need this anymore. In the old days, you would have a newspaper subscription and the newspaper would come every day, and the Sunday edition was extra thick, and it had all kinds of different sections with all kinds of interesting things to entertain ourselves with. And you would get your coffee and get your Sunday newspaper, and you would spend, from 9 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon reading the Sunday newspaper. And Geshe-la said, ditch your newspaper subscription. Now, can you read the newspaper with Dharma in your mind? Absolutely. His Holiness talks about, he does his meditation and he watches the news every day in order to see where in the world some compassion and love and wisdom is needed. And my guess is he's tonglening, right, as he's listening. But he doesn't have to spend, half an hour now and a half an hour at noon and another hour at night and probably another hour before he goes to bed to make sure the news, right, what's going on in the news. Get what you need and then drop it. So same, now and then go to a movie, have a nice time. But then when you get home from the movie, don't flip on the TV and watch another one. Okay? Know what recoups you and then do it and get back to what your priorities are. Geshe-la's personal priority is Jetsun Kappa. Right? For him, he's always translating something, but if he isn't translating, he's reading. Like he wants to spend as much time with Jetsun Kappa as he can before he doesn't have any more time. Now Geshe-la's going to have, right? He has all the time in the world, but he's demonstrating for us our choices, right? And how much time does it take for us to relax after a hard day of work? And right, it's totally our own determination. Nobody's going to tell you, have a cup of tea when you get home, 10 minutes thinking about your day, then go do your homework, right? It's up to you. You are your own judge. And so be nice to yourself. Let yourself relax. Let yourself get some exercise. Let yourself take a nap on a Sunday afternoon if it would help. But do it wisely. Do it intentionally to recoup this body-mind so that you can use it as all that much better a tool in your Dharma laboratory called my life. And life is our Dharma laboratory. And so it's better to be out amongst other people. It's better to have an actual working job where you're challenged and there's some struggle. And that's the place we apply what we're learning. it's hard to learn new things when you sit at the base of the tree and all you've got are the ants crawling on your foot and the flies, right? Going up your nose. It's hard to meet our mental afflictions. So in the practice module, there's a section that's like icing on the cake, because when we find ourselves at this point where it's like, well, my life is certain, the time is uncertain. When I die, nothing but the Dharma helps. Then, Dharma, right? Dharma is my priority. Study, meditate, serve, serve, serve. That's where the Dharma priority actually comes in. I will adjust my life so that it meditating daily fits, studying daily fits. I will keep adjusting it so that when the time comes, regular retreat will fit into life. Make those adjustments. And then when the time comes, it won't be a big shocker to carve out the time for your personal retreats. Then our next conclusion would be, well, if all of this is true, then I want the highest Dharma. I don't even want to waste my time with lesser practices. It's this beautiful image. We're in this dark room and it's like we have this deep aha, and it's like, I want the highest practice, and we point to this door that says highest spiritual practice. And it's like we expect it to be Tantra on the other side of that door. And guess what? It's not. It's this exquisite, beautiful teaching that I'm actually not going to tell you. But for this class, Geshe-la said the highest spiritual practice that we can do is a practice called Namdak. I did write it down. I'll show you. There it is, Namdak. Namdak is the practice of seeing the whole world and everyone in it and everything that happens to us as pure. It means seeing ourselves as pure as well. And so it's a practice that, first of all, can be easily rejected. It's like, my world is not pure. But you're telling me I'm pure. Okay, great. I'll buy that one. And if I'm pure, that means I can do nothing wrong and I can do anything I want. Do you see how it's like, wrong? So this high practice called Namdak has many levels, of course, because of the no self nature of every object that we ever experience, because of the no self nature of ourselves, so subject, object, and because of the no self nature of the interaction between, meaning the result we're experiencing that we think the other is doing to us, and because of the emptiness, the no self nature of the reaction that we're going to do, then I lost my train of thought. Then we like have three choices. in our interaction with an other at any given moment, we're perceiving them as them doing that to us, and it's unpleasant, for example. And we can believe that and justify our reaction to do something to get them to stop, believing that whatever we do, if they stop, it's because of what we did. Second option, we could decide this person acting badly, they're hurting. They need my compassion, right? I'm going to do something to try to help them instead of react in the same old way. Third level, understanding that any fully enlightened being becomes a fully enlightened being because their wisdom has been imbued with compassion, means that upon becoming a fully enlightened being, that compassion they need their compassion to perpetuate themselves as a fully enlightened being. And so they emanate to help beings that don't see themselves as the enlightened beings that Buddha sees them as. Are you following that? And so any being that we interact with could be an emanation of a Buddha. If there's one Buddha, they are emanating. So that person doing that thing to me, they're not Buddha, but they're not Buddha. Geshe-la taught this recently, did he not? They're not both Buddha and not Buddha, and they are not neither. So therefore, I can choose to interact with them as if they're Buddha emanation, and that will plant seeds in my mind for others to be Buddha emanations, which will help me plant seeds in my mind, right? For Buddha emanations to become more and more evident to me. And it actually bleeds over into our own perception of ourself as Buddha emanation. So namdak, this practice of seeing the world as pure, on one level, purely my karma. So I can't blame anybody for anything. And how I respond plants new seeds. But getting deeper, seeing my world as pure, it's all emanations of a fully enlightened being who loves me so much. They take whatever form. I mean, they don't take it. They allow me to see them in whatever form I need to move me along the path as quickly as possible. And maybe that is ugly. Maybe that's unpleasant. Maybe it's exquisite. Maybe it's magic, right? It's not them deciding what I need. They are simply being what I need out of their exquisite love. Just like mom and dad, right? Do and be what child needs, which is different when they're 6 months old than when they're 16, isn't it? So see the world as pure. That end result is how we're going to respond to them. If the guy at work is the same old jerk over and over again, why be kind? He's just going to be a jerk, right? Ordinary human nature is I'll be a jerk back, you know? We'll just do whoever can be the biggest jerk, and that's fine. But next level, it's no, he's hurting. Maybe I can help. Next level, he's Buddha emanation, showing me something. How is our response going to be different? I hope so. And the response is different, so the seed planting is different, so the result's going to be different. So Namdak, see the world as pure. So these realizations, making things real of a death awareness practice, happen on our meditation cushion. Taking these ideas into a review meditation first, till we have it burned in, and then taking the time to take each one in whatever order you want, but each one and analyze deeply to see how the teachings, what they mean for you personally, for your day-to-day life. And you would work with this particular practice, you know, a month or so. We don't take time to do it, but somewhere right along your way, find the time to focus specifically on each of these different practice modules that Geshe-la shared through the course of the ACIs. The death meditation is one of them. He said, if you don't find yourself and your life changing because of these classes, then why keep taking them? No, and it's like, I don't know, it can be a little bit discouraging when we try and life is just getting worse and worse and worse. And it's hard to stay on track. And I don't ever want to give somebody the opinion or the sense that, oh, you know, I'm going to quit because it doesn't work. But then I also don't want to give the impression that, well, you should quit because you're not working hard enough at it. But he really did say, if these classes aren't changing you, it's not for you. And then we have the Lamrim way of approaching it. But I think rather that we hang in there and we maybe stay with the earlier practices of purify, make, merit, and put all the next, as we go through the next levels, you know, keep setting them on the shelf, like on the library shelf, and set them there. Keep doing the beginning practices, not because you're still a beginner, but simply because seed planting is happening at that level. And when all that reaches a critical mass, all the rest of this will just boom right out of us. So sometimes we need to give ourselves permission to still be at kindergarten level practice, even as we're studying high school level, so that we don't put so much pressure on ourselves that it can't work for us. Right? Expectations that aren't being met leaves us really discouraged. And I've gone through that myself and just had to go back and find the practice of renunciation and stay at that level for a while until things accumulated a little bit better. Maybe our practice simply needs to be the 7-limb prayer meditation and 20 minutes of prostration, or 5 mandala offerings, you know, something that just doesn't seem very potent at all, but is amazingly goodness accumulating, and then apply that to our moment by moment living amongst our world, for our goodness to ripen, being a little happier even as things go wrong, because they do. It does not mean our practice isn't working just because things are going wrong. Thank goodness, or we'd all get discouraged right now. So, yeah. Death awareness means, this may be the last time I see you guys, right? Maybe I'll wake up dead. So, I love you. I'll miss you if I do. I'm happy to spend my last evening teaching the Dharma. It feels so contrived. But what if we really did not go to bed without saying I love you to the people who are close, that we take so for granted, ourselves and them, that, oh, they'll all be there for me tomorrow. Karmically speaking, we don't know that, do we? So if we have this attitude that even that person at work that you really don't like, this is the last day you have, how hard would it be to be a little nicer to them? Why not? So the result of our death awareness practice will be we find ourselves being a little kinder. And that's the point, right? All right, so that finishes our course 8, except for review class. So that's extraordinary. So please be really happy with yourself. This was a hard course to stay through. I agree. So double happy. And think of this goodness like a beautiful glowing gemstone that you can hold in your hands. Recall your own precious holy beings. See how happy they are with you. Feel your gratitude to them, your reliance upon them. Ask them to please stay close, to continue to guide you, inspire you, even challenge you. And then offer them this gemstone of goodness. See them accept it and bless it. And then carry it with them right back into your heart. See them there, feel them there. Their love, their compassion, their wisdom, filling you so full. It feels so good, we want to keep it forever. And so we know to share it by the power of the goodness that we've just done. May all beings complete the collection of merit and wisdom, and thus gain the two ultimate bodies that merit and wisdom make. So pretend that goodness is a shining light inside of you. And it shines so bright you can't contain it. And so shine a big blast of light and see one beam go to that one person you want to be able to help. Keep shining, shine beams to everyone you love. Keep shining beams out to every existing being everywhere. Hell realms, hungry ghost realms, animals, humans, jealous gods, pleasure beings, form realm, formless realm, shining upon them the wisdom of loving kindness. And may it be so. So shine your light, please. Thank you. I love you. I will see you on Thursday where you will teach me. Okay, great. I look forward to it.
Thank you for teaching this
Yes.
principle.
Everybody okay? Right? Okay. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. I love you. I hope I wake up tomorrow. Bye-bye.